If you've made even one quilt, you probably have a pile of scraps. And today I want to share with you a new quilt block featuring those scraps. It's the June Stripes block for the little bit different block of the month. Hi, I'm Andy, and this is True Blue Quilts, a place to enjoy, experiment, and excel as you quilt. I hope you're sewing along with me. You can find all the information for the 2023 block of the month at truebluequilts.com. Check the description below for a direct link. Let's get some strips ready to sew some improv stripe blocks, the June little bit different block of the month. So I have my bin of 2.5-inch strips, and I just want to choose a variety so we can put some fun novelty prints in, make it kind of an I Spy thing. I've got these others. I'm staying away from the blues because I know I am using a dark color in the center of my strip. So I've got some strips pre-sewn. I can use that. Like to have a variety of lights and darks and all different shades of fabric. So these will work. Some shorter pieces for the corners. Like I said, a mix of lights and darks and trying to get all the colors of the rainbow represented in my strips. So that gives me a good start. I can set that aside. And what I want to do is start with strips that are about 12 inches. So I'm going to cut off the selvage and then come over here to about 12 inches or so. And then I want a variety of widths. So some of these I will trim at about 2 inches. And then others I will make even a little bit skinnier and go down to 1.5, 1 3/4, you know, whatever looks good there, so that you get a nice variety. See, this started off at 3, so let's make this one a 2.5. And you can see how nicely the markings show up with this little bit different ruler on both dark and light fabrics. In person, these markings almost glow with this ruler. And I don't have to be exactly accurate on my measurements. This is kind of an improv exercise, but I find my blocks come together overall when there is a variety of widths, and I generally like that 2-inch or that 1.5-inch measurement for these. So I will continue prepping these strips, and then we will move to the sewing machine. Getting ready to sew. I have my foundation. You could piece these just sewing the strips together, but I like to have a foundation ready that is the correct size. So I have pre-cut these muslin pieces with my little bit different ruler. So they are the exact size that I need for the Block of the Month program. I'm using muslin plain fabric. It's a little bit cheaper than printed fabric, and you could also use paper cut to whatever size you want your blocks. And I'm going to lay out my first strip across the middle. Like I said, I'm using a dark for the first strip, and then I can just randomly choose another color to line up right sides together, ready to sew. And for this first strip, I want to secure everything with a pin. So I am going to pin those together and then add a second pin towards the bottom edge. And then that piece is ready to go. I want my strips to alternate with this dark center so that I can create some fun shapes as I go along. And I'm going to add this fun dinosaur print for this second one. So you can get really scrappy and random here. Just make sure the ends of your strip go off the foundation so that the entire foundation is covered when you start sewing. And I will just continue adding strips and pressing in between. When I get to the end, I can move to my leftover triangle basket and find pieces that fit. And you can just audition those triangles in place and make sure they cover the area you need to cover and give you a seam allowance. This yellow one might be a little bit close, but I think I can position that. That's the great thing about using batiks, is that you can use either side and make that work for that corner. And I like working in multiples of these blocks so that I can chain piece as I go. I'm sewing with a normal 1/4 inch seam, making sure I start past the foundation of my fabric to give myself a generous amount of sewn fabric beyond the foundation so I can trim that later. Moving that out of the way so I can continue my chain piecing. Now I said that this one was going to be a little bit tight, so I am going to use a scant seam on this piece just to make sure that my corner gets covered with that yellow fabric. And then when I am chain piecing, I like to have other bits of fabric as a leader ender. So I'll run that through and see if we were able to cover that corner. Just a tiny bit off, but that will get lost in the final seam allowance. You can tell that's barely 1/8 of an inch, and so a normal 1/4 inch seam on that corner will get enough fabric in there to be stable in the final quilt. And our red fabric covered the back just fine. So we'll finish those up and have some improv stripe blocks. I have my strips all sewn together, so we need to trim these down. As I said, using a foundation tells us exactly where we need to trim, and it is the exact size of our little bit different ruler. And the great feature of these rulers is they have a non-slip coating. It's called EeziGrip on the back that is actually kind of sticky, and it holds right in place on your fabric so nothing shifts around if you have problems with your fabric slipping when you trim. Now, scrap projects always create more scraps, and you have to decide if those little bits are worth saving. This one might be useful. I don't save these little triangles. This green one might be big enough, but if they're below 2 inches, I just don't ever take the time to save those. But I can work with that, 2-inch by 3-inch rectangle there in my scrap bin. The rest of these will go into a bag for recycling. Here are the finished blocks that I made for the June Little Bit Different Block of the Month program. And because I alternated the direction of the center stripe, I can get some fun patterns. We could put 4 of these blocks together. Make sure I've got my uphills and downhills, and we can have some fun with diamonds. And then if you keep that going around, you could almost get a trip around the world effect with your scrappy blocks. And the fun thing when you vary the size of these strips is you don't have seams to match. So that makes it really easy to sew all these blocks together. And they're improv, so it looks like these are almost the same size, but if you didn't hit that point exactly, no one would notice. But what I did with the June pattern called Bumpy Road is I just kept going with the chevron effect of these blocks, and I alternated the rows, and I put in some plain background fabric. So the idea is that you'd have a little bit of a chevron going from the left and a little bit of a chevron coming in from the right. And that's the plan for Bumpy Road. I hope you enjoyed the June pattern Bumpy Road. I can't wait to see your interpretation of this quilt and what you choose for the background colors. If you want to hear more about why I decided to stretch my blocks in 2023, check out this video next.